Hey folks, Robbie Payne with Chrome Unboxed, and today we're going to be taking a first look and unboxing the HP X360 Chromebook 11EE. Now that terribly long name belongs to what amounts to be the first Apollo Lake Chromebook we're getting our hands on. Now Apollo Lake is the follow-up to last year's Braswell chip, and so we're hoping to see a little bit of a performance boost as it is paired with 8 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage, and a Wacom stylus enabled touchscreen. So the same type of stylus you see in the Samsung Chromebook Pro and Plus. So we're excited to get our hands on it and see what it looks like. So let's get started. All right guys, so let's get into this. HP didn't include too much on the outside of the box here, but what we are dealing with again is the Chromebook X360 11G1. So it's 11-inch Chromebook. We're dealing with a 1366 by 768 resolution. It is the first production model Apollo Lake device that we've gotten our hands on. We did mess around with the Asus before, the C213 Flip, but it was definitely not ready for production, had a lot of bugs going on in it. So this will be the first Apollo Lake device that we're actually getting to test in a production status. This one comes with 8 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage. So that's kind of interesting, and additionally we've got the pen stuff included. So without further ado, we're just going to open this guy up. And right on top you've got the included pen. Now this one's not stowable like Samsung's, but it is a full-size pen, so it's the full size of a normal writing pen. We'll see we'll see how it performs. Over on the side, you got your normal charging stuff. Not a nice brick, but not huge either, and USB-C. All right, let's get all this box and stuff out of here. And this is what you came for. So decent look on the outside, obviously plasticky. This is, the technical model has EE in the name because it's an education edition. So likely if HP follows form, they will have another device out for the consumer market at some point. It's likely going to be the exact same thing. So if you have messed with an HP Chromebook 11 that came out last Christmas-ish, you will be vaguely familiar with this. It feels very similar. The plastics used are similar. The device isn't crazy thin, but it's also not out of control thick, and it kind of tapers to the front. So it has a bit of that wedge shape, so it does feel thinner up here in the front. Across the side over here, the ports, we have a headphone, microphone, micro SD, USB super speed, so 3.0 here, and then another 3.0 USB-C over here. Hinges across the back. This is a 360 device, hence its name. Power button here, Kensington lock, USB-C, and then another USB 3.0. So lots of USB ports, so 4 in total. So that's kind of nice. One of these can act as your charger, one can act as your output for audio, video, and then you still have 2 more ports to plug in peripherals and stuff like that. You got your volume rocker here, and there is this noticeable bumper kind of around. It's not soft or squishy or anything, but definitely meant to take bumps. And so obviously the education devices are meant to take a bit of a beating. Around the bottom, you've got screws. I don't know that this one comes with any kind of serviceable battery technically. I'm sure you could replace it if you wanted to, if you wanted to work hard enough at it. And then you've got your downward firing speakers and feet, and that's about it. So, all right, so we're all logged in and everything here. There are a few other notable things that we need to talk about, obviously, just from the get-go. One is that massive bezel. It's one of those things I wish we could see at least start trimming down a little bit. And part of it's I'm used to looking at the Samsung Chromebook Pro. I've been working on it for a while. And so it's got much smaller bezels. They're not tiny or impossible to see. They're just much smaller. And so it makes it look a little bit more modern. These are massive. I mean, we're talking an inch to inch and a quarter around the edges here. So it'd been nice to see them bring the screen down into here or something. I don't know. That just seems like a lot of wasted space. And I do get, whenever you make this part bigger, you can put a full-size keyboard, and I'm all for that. I just wish they would stretch the screen to kind of fit more into here. I know we need bezel whenever we turn it into tablet mode, but that's a bit of overkill. Secondly, the screen is at max brightness right now, and I know we're under lights, but we're seeing a ton of glare already on it. So I could tell you I wish that the screen brightness was better. Viewing angles in general are okay. We're not discoloring at different angles, but we are losing lots of light off angle. So if we're not perfectly on angle, you lose a lot of the brightness of the screen, and we don't have much to work with to begin with. So that's kind of a bummer. Keyboard, just typing in passwords and stuff, feels really good. Good and clicky, a decent amount of travel. A little bit of flex in the center of the keyboard, which we've kind of gotten away from seeing that a lot. Seems to kind of be back here, but overall the travel of the keys feels pretty good. Again, you just really have some give there, so that's a little disconcerting. Trackpad feels really good, nice and smooth. Click mechanism's very quiet. Probably can't even pick that up. And we don't have that kind of floppy trackpad issue that we've seen on some HPs from time to time. Overall, we're looking hopefully to get a bit of a spec bump and speed bump in this from the Apollo Lake. So this is the successor to the Braswell chip. So devices like the Acer Chromebook 14 was probably one of the most popular Braswell devices. This is the next generation of those chips. This one paired again with 8 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of internal storage, which is really interesting to see in an education device. It does come in a 4 gig of RAM, 32 gig version as well. So, and that one drops in price. So while we're at that, let's talk about price just a little bit. This device comes in at $479, which if that shocks you a little bit, it should for a device of this class, an education device, one that clearly isn't the best built in the world. Just looking at it, $479 is pretty steep, especially when you consider the Samsung Chromebook Plus at 4 gigs and 32 gigs of internal storage comes in at a lot of times around $400 because it seems to be on sale all the time. And so this one being about $400, there's no way I could recommend thus far looking at this saying, hey, get this instead of that. And now who knows, during the review process it might impress me. But just from build quality standpoint from the screen, again, we're dealing with a 1366 by 768 device here. So I can, sitting back, I can see some of the graininess on the screen. It's not very bright. Seems to be getting along okay. Our website's not the most insane one in the world. Oops. And let's pull up YouTube. It's doing okay. It's hopping and skipping around a little bit here. Again, we're going to have to talk about this stuff in the review as far as performance goes, but I'd like to give you all just a quick idea of what these devices can do when we first open them up. Be honest, I'm a little disappointed thus far. It's getting around okay. But again, if this is a $250 device, this would be a totally different discussion. But when we start getting up into close to $500 for a device, it needs to perform. Doing okay. Pinch zooming is okay, a little jerky. But I can't say that this, thus far anyway, that it feels any better than
our coverage of Computex 2017 is
then it feels any better than the Samsung Chromebook Plus, and at a similar price and a much better build. And
is this really small startup that was
not real excited so far.
A disruptive device maker with an emphasis on community feedback to help them design the best products for their community.
We're struggling a little bit
to which
here.
I would normally go, well, gee, you guys, taking community feedback is a great way to get an awful lot of, let's say, how about we call them C- ideas. But the V 2-in-1 Windows device that they're showing off here at the show.
So, yeah, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not real excited so far about what I'm seeing from a performance standpoint. So, we'll run Octane and all that kind of stuff for the review, but it doesn't feel very fast. And that's kind of a bummer. I was hoping that Apollo Lake was going to solve some of Braswell's laggy problems, but again, most of this stuff needs to be saved for the review. Real quick, I want to hit on this. Let's see, what are we getting in here? I'll have to read and see. It looks like this may be something you would attach and would hold the pen maybe on the side of the Chromebook. I don't know. We'll look into that. A lanyard? I don't know. Put it around your neck. Who knows? Okay, so it's EMR, so similar in function to the Samsung Chromebooks as far as what it can do. There's a little nub at the top, so let's just open up Squid and see how it inks. I like the fact that it's a full-size pen. That's kind of cool. Let's do that. And heck, while we're at it, we'll flip it into tablet mode. Yeah, pretty good. My handwriting's terrible, so don't pay that any mind. Yeah, so nice and responsive, exactly like you'd think. Let's see what this does. Anything? Do you do anything? Oh, yeah, you do. So it looks like this part up here is a capacitive, like a standard capacitive nub. It's hard plastic, so that's what kind of threw me off. In this app, for instance, when you rub with your finger, it's an eraser. So that's what it does here. So if I color. Now granted, it's a whole object eraser, so it's not, there may be a setting in Squid or something like that that you can change it to be a fine eraser. But overall, inks like you would expect it to. It's not going to have any other tricks up its sleeve, and it also can't go in the device anywhere. But it feels pretty good. It's kind of light. Feels like a Bic pen or something like that. But if I know a lot of people complain about Samsung stylus being too small and feeling strange to write with, so this would obviously solve that. Cool part is, if you get a hold of one of these, it would obviously work on the Samsung screen too. So it's both the same Wacom EMR screen. So this is just a standard pen that would work with any Wacom EMR screen. So other than the fact that I can't put it anywhere, the pen's kind of cool. So we'll mess around more with that for the review part as well. The last thing I want to mention on this guy is the world-facing camera. So when we go into tablet mode, if you flip this around, now you have upward-facing or outward-facing, I'm sorry, camera. We'll test those to see how they perform, but out of curiosity, I just want to see if it works real quick. So let's go to the camera. Hey, look at there, a brick wall. Doesn't seem like there's any focus feature to it. So still pretty basic and pretty just kind of okay. I'm trying to switch cameras. Okay, cool. So, you know, basic camera switching and all that kind of stuff works, which is kind of neat. Hopefully, eventually we'll start seeing better cameras in these devices, especially the ones with world-facing cameras. But overall, right now, I'm not going to get into running Octanes because I don't want to hear a bunch of people saying Octane doesn't get updated anymore and it's no good. But we'll run Octane, we'll run Speedometer, we'll run some of those tests in the full review to figure out how fast this thing runs in benchmarks. But I can tell you, just from messing with it here in the last few minutes, I'm not real excited about the performance thus far. This device also comes with Play Store, so right out of the gate we have Google Play, so you've got all your Android apps. I haven't gone through all this setup stuff yet, so I'm not going to do that on camera. Again, we'll cover all that stuff in the full review, so definitely, if you haven't subscribe to the channel if you want to see more about this device, because within a week or so, maybe a couple weeks, we'll have a review up as I spend some time with this and figure out if this is a device for you, if this is something you want to spend your money on, if you'd rather have this versus, like I said, the Samsung Chromebook Plus, and or in that same price range. I mean, heck, we're talking about getting in the range of the Asus Chromebook Flip, the C302, the all aluminum one that feels like using a MacBook. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what HP's smoking here with charging almost $500 for this device, but Who knows? Maybe in the review process, my mind will be changed. Only way to know is to stick around, subscribe, and find out. Until then, guys, I hope you've liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Again, subscribe to the channel below so that you can stay up to date on all the stuff that we're doing. And until next time, guys, we'll see you.